Hey, good morning, everybody. Your boy LaShawn Sugar Ray Marston here with Queensbridge Studios. We out here on this brisk, beautiful Tuesday morning. After being shut down in March by Mayor Bill Di Blasio, Big ReUses F-Train stop Queensbridge composting site makes a return today. Thanks in large part to this man here, Gil Lopez, a local community builder, activist particularly in the realm of composting and environmental education. How does it feel being back out here after 9 months?
Oh man, it feels good to be back in the community, that we serve. It's a cold morning, but it's really nice to be here, It's nice to be up with the sun and see everybody walking around, enjoying the day, letting everybody know that we're back accepting compost. A lot of people haven't heard about it yet, so we're trying to get the word out, just like letting people know. I'm sure we'll have a light load this week and it'll just start building again.
Yep. What do you think has been the biggest detriment to the community since this site has been removed in the last 9 months? What do you think has been the biggest detriment?
I mean, a lot of people have had to throw their food waste into the landfill, and when we send that to the landfill, that's just dumping our trash on somebody else's community. And when they do that as well, that trash goes into the trash bags down to the curb in different places, and that actually attracts rats. When we have that food that the rats want to eat on the curb in that soft plastic, if we keep it off the curb in our freezer or refrigerator in a little bin in a container in our apartments, and then we bring it down here on Tuesdays, that's a rigid container with a strong lid on it. Ain't no rats and rodents going to be getting into that. So we can actually reduce the amount of rats and rodents in our communities by composting, by doing the right thing with our food scraps. I think that's been helpful,
So Gil, you've been doing this work for a while now, and you are currently heavily involved in saving composting in New York City, particularly here in Western Queens. What has been the biggest hindrance, or what has been the biggest like problem and struggle with continuing to compost, as important as it is?
Yeah, I think there's two sides to that. There's the participation. Those people don't really understand why it's important. They think it's icky. It's easier to just throw their food waste into a black bag and send it to the landfill than to think about saving the scraps and feeding it to the soil and giving it to us so we can really start growing more food and vegetables and trees and stuff like that, flowers and things. But the other side of that is the actual support that it gets from the city, from the municipality. When we pay our taxpayer money and we expect the Department of Sanitation in the city to do the right thing with our trash, our recycling, the landfill waste, and our organics, and they just don't do it, then that could cause a problem too. So right now we're dealing with not having the funding, and what little tiny bit of funding we do have, they're trying to take away the places that we can actually process the food scraps. So they're gonna give us a little bit of money, but they're not gonna let us have a place to actually do the work. So we're gonna have to spend a lot more money to send the food scraps really far away to do the work somewhere else. And the logistics of transportation and moving food scraps a long way, it puts particulates in the air because we're using trucks, and it's kind of a double-edged sword that's kind of cutting us at both ends. But if we can get education to the people and we can get funding back in the budget, then that would be really useful and helpful for the compost project and for composting in the city in general.
Got it. And how can the community, again, here in Western Queens, Queensbridge, but the greater city and people in general who care, how can we do more to further the mission of composting, further your personal mission and the mission of Big ReUse? What can we do?
I think just basic participation. Just when you're cooking at home and you have food scraps, you have vegetable scraps, when you're eating your breakfast and you have an orange peel, banana peel, coffee grinds, a tea bag, save that aside. Don't send that to the landfill. Really find out where you can go with that thing, because there are food scrap drop-offs all over the place. Unfortunately, there are not as many of them as there used to be, but there are places where you can bring your food scraps. So bringing that once a week, making it a little trip for you, maybe you and your family, to go down and drop off your food scraps and make sure that it's going to the right place. It's really important that we actually are conscious about this and that we do the work, because it is work. The best things in life aren't free, and you have to actually participate in this, and it's kind of invigorating, getting out in the city and going down to where everybody else is doing the good work. You get to see your old friends and really feel like you're part of it.
Thank you, Gil. Appreciate you, man. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Sugar Ray. You do the same.